This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening. We'll be starting the session within 1 minute. All of you, so you can hear my voice, right? If you have any difficulty in hearing my voice, please let me know. Okay, we'll start the session. Okay, in the previous session, we have seen about various classification algorithms in supervised learning, as well as classification algorithms in unsupervised learning. Also, we have seen. Okay. And then we have seen basics of introduction to Python programming. Okay, so we have seen about introduction. Okay, how Python program was invented, and then we have seen what are the various companies using Python programming for their commercial products. At the same, we have seen why Python is important for machine learning. We have seen the simplicity of Python, right? We have seen the difference between Python 2 and Python 3 also. Okay, and then we started learning about important stages of machine learning, right? We have discussed that there are about 5 types of machine learning stages. Okay, we discussed about getting data, and then cleaning, preparing data, training the model. So we have seen up to this get data, clean data, train data, and then fourth stage is testing data. So once you train the model, so training the model is simple, right? Actually, this is the stage where you build the model, where you build the model, where you build the model. After building the model, okay, now you have to test your model, okay, whether your model is working properly or not, whether this model is accurate or not. Okay, to test your model, for accuracy. So this stage 4 is very important for us, because without having accuracy, we should not deploy or use that particular model. Okay, if you want to use a particular model in a website or in an application, you should first test it for its accuracy. Okay, so for testing we have a library. So we can use scikit-learn library. So we can use scikit-learn library. Okay, so scikit-learn library is very useful. Scikit-learn is a package, okay, in Python. It is available in Python. So it is useful for both train the model, at the same time to test data. So it is very useful. So after completion of this testing, okay, so now your model is perfect. So you can use this model for deployment. Then you can go for deployment. Generally for deployment, so in this course we are going to see about how to deploy a particular model in a website or web application. So to deploy a particular machine learning model in web application, you need to know Flask framework, either Flask framework, or you should know Django. Okay, so we are going to see the basics of Flask framework, because this is a simple and micro framework we can use to deploy our machine learning model. Okay, so by using Flask framework, you'll be building an application, and you can actually host this in the web. Okay, directly you can access this particular web from anywhere in the world. Okay, so we have a free hosting service for Python, that is Python Anywhere, pythonanywhere.com. So Python Anywhere will be very useful to host okay, your website, which is having your model. Okay, so you can use Python anywhere. So I'll be explaining you how to deploy your model into web application using Python environment. Okay, so we'll be doing that. Okay, clear, right? So what you're trying to learn in this class is, so for getting data, what are the libraries we are going to use? For cleaning data, what are the libraries we are using? For train model, test data, and then for deploying, what are the various things we are going to use in Python? Okay, so we are going to discuss about them in detail. Okay, and then later in the sessions we are going to work with them also. Okay, so if these terms are new to you, okay, so please ask me the questions. Okay, I will be here to give you answers, but we are going to see more detailed explanation for all these topics in the further sessions. Okay, right. So you can see here, so why Python for machine learning? In this you can see what are the various best packages or libraries for machine learning. So here you see NumPy, SciPy, Matplotlib, Pandas, Scikit-learn, and then you will see Python. Okay, so these are all various packages. Okay, you can use these packages for your machine learning. Okay, so we are going to discuss about all these packages in detail. Okay, so these are one packages are nothing but libraries. Okay, generally in C language you generally interact with the libraries, right? Generally you include libraries by using hash include, right? Hash include stdio.h. So this is the library, standard input output library. Generally you include in the C program to take the inputs at the same time to print the output. Generally use stdio, right? The same way you can use different libraries. Okay, in Python we call them as packages. Remember, the libraries are called as packages in Python. Sometimes we call them as packages. There are some modules. Okay, so collection of modules is called as package, whereas modules are libraries. Okay, sometimes we need to combine different modules together. Okay, right, clear? Is this clear, all of you? So we are going to use various libraries. So in Python we should call a library as package, okay, or a module. Remember that. Okay, we are going to see the difference between what is a module, what is a package in coming sessions. Okay, so yeah, wait for 1 minute. I'll be waiting for others to join. Just I will wait for 1 minute. Okay, is that fine? Can I wait for 1 minute? Yeah, Ishwar, Kiran, Sri Ganesh, shall I wait for 1 minute? Okay, right, shall we wait? Okay. Okay, I'll be resuming the class. Okay, so good evening, all of you. So we'll be discussing about the stages here. So these are the 5 stages yesterday we have discussed, right? So after training the model, next step is we have to test the model. After testing the model, okay, the next step is deploying the model. Okay, so how to deploy the model? Okay, so we are going to use the Flask. We are going to use Flask web application. Remember, so testing data we can test. So what is testing? What is testing the model? Remember, you have designed a model. Now we have to test the model. How to test the model? We give data, okay, input, and we will get the output, right? And we have to check for the accuracy. Accuracy is important. Okay, accuracy. You know what is accuracy? Accuracy is nearest to the actual values, right? The difference between actual value and the predicted value will give the error. This is the true value. True value. This is the measured value. The difference between the true value and the measured value is the error. Is the error. Generally, we indicate accuracy in terms of error only, percentage error. Okay, there are different types of errors. Okay, so here we are going to evaluate a particular model for its accuracy. Okay, clear about it, right? So for finding accuracy, we are going to use the same model called as same library called as scikit-learn. This is the library we are going to use to test your model for its accuracy. After testing for accuracy, we are going to use we are going to use Flask. Flask is a web framework. It is very useful to design web applications using Python. Okay, so this Flask is a web framework which is very useful to design websites. Okay, and you can deploy data analysis or machine learning models to a particular web application through Flask or Django. Okay, so we are going to use Flask in this course to deploy our model into the web application, and you can showcase to your friends also. Okay, we are going to do that, right? So for all these 5 stages, we have Python support. Remember, for doing all these 5 stages, we have Python support. Python support. So we are going to write everything. All the 5 stages can be implemented using Python with various libraries. So there are so many libraries available. So generally libraries are nothing but the packages. In Python we call them as a packages. So we are going to use these packages to implement all these 5 stages. We'll be discussing about the package that you are going to use to implement all these 5 stages in this class now. Okay, so now these are the packages. Okay, the best packages for machine learning, okay, are NumPy. So we are going to discuss about these packages: NumPy, SciPy, Matplotlib, Pandas, Scikit-learn. And there are other libraries also present, but generally we learn NumPy, Matplotlib, Pandas, Scikit-learn, and SciPy in this course. Okay, so remember these libraries are essential. We should know these libraries. Okay, so we are going to teach everything from basics. Okay, you'll be learning about NumPy, SciPy, Matplotlib, Scikit-learn, and Pandas also. We'll be seeing the importance of them now. Okay, so first we will concentrate on stage 1. Okay, stage 1. What is stage 1? Yes, in machine learning process there are total 5 stages, right? What is the stage 1? Stage 1. What is stage 1? Stage 1 is get data, right? Get data. So how to get data? It's important, right? Where to get data? We have different types of data. So already we have discussed about the data, right? For example, can anyone tell what are the different types of data? Where you get the data? Right, my first question, where you get the data? Where you get data? This is the first question. Second question is, what is the type, what is general format of data? General format of data. Can anyone answer first question and second question? Where you get data? First, tell me what is data. So we know data, every day we generate data, right? So computers generate data, websites generate data, IoT devices generate data. So for example, if you take a simple example, Amazon e-commerce website. Suppose take an example of Amazon e-commerce website. So in this website, what data you can get? Okay, you will get data related to products, and then prices, right? This is the data. Okay, where this data is available? This data is available in the website, right? So in Amazon website. Right. Okay, Tonika. Okay, Tonika, you are new to this class, right? Okay. So remember, so we get this data, everywhere. So suppose we have taken example of Amazon e-commerce website. In Amazon e-commerce website, we have products and prices information. At the same time, we have data related to reviews, also reviews, ratings. Okay, so there is a lot of information available in Amazon e-commerce website. Products information like prices, reviews, ratings. Now this is the data, right? So how you will get this data? How you can get this data? Right. So getting this data, there are different methods to get this particular data. Okay. So you have, suppose you are using CCTV, CCTV camera. Maybe some camera you are using. This camera is taking videos and images. These videos and images are stored in some server. Okay, now the server contains all the images and videos. This is the data, video or image data. So you can obtain this video or image data. Okay, and you can read this data. Okay, this data can be in different formats. Okay, so we discussed about different formats of data. Okay, what are the different types of data available? So you can get data in JSON format. Okay, generally JSON format is very readable data, readable, and we can interpret easily. So JSON is generally communicated between web applications and servers and applications. Okay, so JSON will be communicated between web client, like web client and server. So generally the data will be exchanged in the format of JSON. JSON is nothing but JavaScript object notation. So this JSON data is very useful in Python, because directly JSON data will be converted into dictionaries. Dictionaries in Python. Okay, so remember, dictionaries is one type of data type. Remember, this is one data structure. In Python. Okay, so we are going to learn about dictionaries in Python in later classes. Remember, JSON can be directly converted into dictionaries. Okay, in Python. So this is one data format, JSON, and then CSV. This generally in data science we generally see most of the files are in CSV format. What is CSV format? CSV format is very simple: comma separated values. Comma separated values means values are stored in a simple CSV file, where the values will be separated like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, and directly these values directly can be converted into Excel file also. Can be converted into Excel file. Okay, that's easy. Clear, all of you, right? So this is actually CSV file. Okay, generally we get this type of files only. Okay, maybe CSV file or JSON file, or you may get text file. Sometimes you may get text file also. Okay, so that is actually about data. Now how to get this data into your Python environment? So now in your PC or laptop you are using Python. Okay, you are writing Python code. Now you want to access data in this particular environment. Okay, you want to get entire data into this particular computer, which is accessible to your program, Python program. Now how to get the data? It's very simple, right? So first way is getting data through APIs. Remember, first we are discussing about how to get data through API. What is API? Anyone can answer. What is API? Now we are going to get data through APIs. What is API? Anyone can give answer in the chat. What is API? Yes. Yeah, no one is responding in the chat. Okay. Yeah, Sri Ganesh, application programming interface. Ishwar, excellent application programming interface. Excellent. Yeah, Sai Kirti, application programming interface. Excellent. So good answers. So yeah. So Tonika, yes. So application programming interface. What is application programming interface? Nowadays, so every company, so for example, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, so whatever, Instagram, everyone is using APIs. Okay, if there is, if there is a software company and if it is big, then it should use API. Okay, so it should generally use API. So what is API? So I'm going to give you clear understanding of API. API is very simple. For example, you have two computers or two applications. This is application 1, application 2, application 2. So APIs provides the way to communicate between these two applications. So information can be exchanged between these two applications, A1 and A2, through API. Okay, so what I can do is I will give you very simple yes, Sairam, we are going to do that right in this class. Okay, it's possible we will do that, otherwise tomorrow we'll do that. Okay, so we are trying to understand the basics behind everything so that you can go ahead. Okay, yeah, so Tonika, the definition is somewhat complex. Okay, so the definition beginner cannot understand. Okay, I'll be giving a simple definition, try to understand this. Okay, right. So all of you please listen here. So API provides the easy way of communication between the applications. So simple thing is I'll be giving a restaurant example. For example, you went to a restaurant. Okay, this is restaurant table where you are sitting here. Okay, suppose so you have menu. Suppose you have menu. So menu, it is written various prices here. This is the price items on price list. So you have items here. So you have seen some items, you have chosen the items. Okay, now you are ready with the items names. So you want to order some items. Okay, here kitchen department. Okay, here it is kitchen department. So kitchen department generally what they do is they actually prepare various foods for us. Okay, so now this order should reach kitchen, right? So there must be a mediator between here the person who is ordering here and then the kitchen. Okay, there should be some mediator who should take this information from here to here. So now the items list should be carried. Generally waiter will be carrying the information, right? So waiter will take this information, items list, and will give this to kitchen. So now kitchen prepares the items required by the here waiter. So waiter will be waiting at the kitchen. Now waiter will receive the items, prepared items, right? So now he will take these items to the person who actually ordered these items, right? So now what you can see here is, so he has ordered items. Now this information has been carried by a waiter. Okay, this waiter is nothing but API. So now there is a request, order request for an item. Okay, so this order request was made by a person, so to the kitchen department. Now kitchen has prepared the item and delivered, okay, the item to the person. But these two requests, this is the response. What is the response? Food, right? Food is the response here. Food names are request is food names. Okay, I want this food and this food. So see, it's simple. Here the request is food names to the kitchen, and then kitchen department delivered the food. Okay, so here this request and responses were generally called as APIs. So APIs will work with request and response model if it is implemented through HTTP REST APIs. If it is implemented through HTTP REST, then generally, so it will work in request and response model. Okay, so I think you got clear understanding of what is API. So APIs allows web applications to communicate with other application or server in faster way. Okay, that is the advantage of using API. Okay, so anyone okay can access data provided that he has APIs. Okay, right. So take another example, for example Redbus. All of you know Redbus, right? Redbus, okay, if you want to book try any bus for your traveling, generally you log into Redbus app or Redbus portal. Okay, so this portal contains all details about buses, okay, bus routes, buses. Okay, so here it has database of different travel agencies. So maybe travel agency 1, travel agency 2, travel agency 3. So you can directly book tickets at agencies also. For example, here you have SVKDT, Morningstar. So, they also have their online portals to book tickets, right? You can actually book individually. You can go and book at their own portal also. But if you see in the Redbus, you will see all the details about SVKDT. Okay, so you will see Morningstar details. Okay, the same bus details also available in Morningstar. At the same time, same details also available in here Redbus. For example, Morningstar has 5 buses to Hyderabad. Okay, so the same 4 buses details will be available in this Redbus portal also. For example, here in 4 buses there are 50 vacancies. The same 50 vacancies will be replicated in Morningstar as well as in the Redbus, dynamically. You can change this details here and here also. How this is happening? This is purely possible because of APIs. Okay, so see, all the agencies have APIs. Through the APIs, actually Redbus is collecting all information about number of vacancies, number of services, there for example automatically if some ticket is booked through SVKDT, so it will be updated in the Redbus also through API. Okay, so if some ticket is booked in Redbus for SVKDT, automatically this will be sent to this SVKDT portal. Okay, this will be dynamically done through APIs. So when you are booking with Redbus or some other platform, you might have experience. For example, you try to book some ticket, but after completing the purchase, you will see the ticket is not available. You have to book again. Sometimes it may show like that, right? How it is happening? So maybe somebody is booking, or some people in the SVKDT portal also may be booking. So this is happening, right? This is the API. Is this clear? Yes, Iram, Tonika, is this clear? Okay, so yeah, okay, right. So now we have Twitter here. Okay, Open Weather Map and ThinkSpeak. We are going to work with Open Weather Map in this in this course. Okay, Open Weather Map API. So this Open Weather Map API provides weather data. So this is actually a London-based company which provides weather data for all cities, major cities. So it provides weather data for Vizag, Gajwaka, Hyderabad, Kakinada, so Vijayawada, Chennai. So is it Warangal, so it provides data for all the cities. Okay, so this API, so Open Weather Map API will give access to all weather data through APIs only. Without having API, you cannot access all the weather data. So by using Open Weather, there are so many apps running in Android. Android applications are running, some web applications are running purely based on Open Weather Map. So you can build some app so by using Open Weather. So for example, you want to build an application, okay, where you want to show the temperature, and then other parameters. How you can do that? It's very simple. Now you have an application, you are building an application, so you want to show temperature, humidity, and other rain. Okay, all these parameters you want to show and update continuously. How you can do that? So this is your application, but you don't have sensors, you are not measuring, you don't have temperature sensor, you don't have humidity sensor, you don't have rain sensor. But what you can do is, here Open Weather Map has all the sensor network. They are maintaining sensors, they are collecting data, the data is available in their cloud. Okay, now you can access this data present in Open Weather cloud through APIs, through API calls, API calls into your application. So very simple. Okay, so provided that Open Weather Map should provide API, details. Otherwise, you cannot do that. If there is no provision of API, you cannot read. Some support APIs, some whether some services may not support APIs. If it is not supporting API, you cannot get the data into your application. It's very important. Okay, API, accessing through API generally will be done by developers only, developers, those who work with the code. These are the developers who will work with the code. Okay, though they will be accessing the APIs. Okay, so you can be the developer in this course, so you'll be accessing data through API. So Twitter also provides API. So Twitter, what you can do with the Twitter? Okay, how you can use the Twitter? So generally, if you want to tweet, what you have to do, you have to open Twitter application and you have to post your tweet. You have to type and you have to post, right? What if without logging into your computer, you want to post tweets every day at 9 a.m.? Okay, so automatically your computer should do that. You have written a program. This program has to send every day at the rate 9 a.m. a tweet in the Twitter without your intervention. Remember, once you write the code, automatically this program will be running. When this program is running every day at 9 a.m., this will be updating a tweet. Good morning, with date and 9 a.m. with a joke, or with a some tweet. You can do that. So now without your intervention, automatically a program can tweet, provided that it should provide APIs. Twitter has APIs. Through APIs, you can do that. By using APIs, you can read tweets. You can read tweets. For example, you want to read tweets about some place, Hyderabad. So you want to get all the tweets about Hyderabad into your computer. How to get? By using APIs, you can read all the tweets. For example, you want to do some analysis. Okay, there are parties like TRS, YSR, CP, TDP, Congress. Okay, so now for example, there is an election time. Now during the election time, most of the people are working with the code. Some people will be doing data analysis. For example, so who will win in one single constituency? For example, Hyderabad city, who will win? Okay, how to predict that, how to find that? So what they will do is they will get data from Twitter. So they will read all the tweets related to Hyderabad, TRS, YSR. So they will get all the tweets related with these terms, words, TRS. Wherever TRS is mentioned, these tweets are generally will be read. YSR will be read, all these will be read, and they will try to estimate, okay, who got more votes. For example, TRS is having more votes and more tweets, and they can predict that, okay, TRS is going to win, or Congress is going to win, or TDP is going to win, or YSR is going to win. So it's purely based on data. So generally you can read all the data present in the social media through APIs, and you can do analysis. Most of the people do analysis on this social media data. So they can actually study about politics, they can study about for example, how students are feeling during this COVID-19 stay home situation, how students are feeling. So if you want to do some analysis, you can do that by using some study of the tweets already posted. Okay, for example, in 30 days students have posted so many tweets. You can read the tweets and do some analysis to find it. So to read the tweets, you should have APIs, remember. So that is the actual use of APIs. Okay, so at the same time, ThinkSpeak is IoT platform. So this ThinkSpeak has so many sensors data. You can actually read all the sensors data into your Python program by using APIs. So ThinkSpeak also provides APIs. Okay, right. So these all APIs will be generally based on HTTP only. HTTP, we know generally all the website works with HTTP, right? HTTP means hypertext transfer protocol. All of you know about it. Okay, so I will go on. So you understood what is API, how to get data through API. So we are going to use a library called as request library. Request is the library, okay, which is very useful. This is a Python library to get data through APIs. Okay, if you know API call, okay, API call is a general URL. Okay, URL is a generally API calls will be in the format of URL only. So you have to make a request for a particular URL to get the data. Okay, so to make a request, you have to use a library called as request library. Okay, clear. So we'll go to the next. So this is the how to get data via APIs. This is one step. For example, you want to get data from, for example, IEEE. How many of you know IEEE? IEEE. How many of you know IEEE? Here, IEEE. So most of you, I think, right? Yeah. So most of you know IEEE. For example, IEEE Explorer. Okay, IEEE Explorer. We have so many IEEE papers, right? You can download, you can view, you can do a lot of things for research. For example, you want to do research on ML research. ML research. Okay, so without opening IEEE website, you want to get details about all ML papers. There are so many IEEE papers published about machine learning. Now you want to get all the papers details into your computer without copying and pasting. Generally, if you want to get data, what you have to do is you have to go to the website, open the website, copy or as a line by line. Okay, search for ML, and you will get the ML research papers. After getting ML research papers, you have to copy all into your Word document. Directly you cannot copy, so you will be using your mouse to copy, select and copy. You will be using keyboard to copy everything. Okay, that is actually tedious process. But using APIs, so actually IEEE also having APIs. IEEE also having APIs. You can use IEEE APIs to get all the details about the papers published about machine learning. For example, there are 1,000 papers published with machine learning keyword. You can get all these 1,000 papers details into your Python. So you can do that. It's very easy. So most of the companies are having now APIs, software companies. Remember. Right. So next is, so another way of getting data is through web scraping. What is web scraping? Web scraping is a simple technique to get all the data present in a particular website. So for example, you have a website. In this website, you have details about, for example, there are faculty details in your college website, faculty details in your college website. How to get faculty details into your Python program? How to get? See, faculty, you want to do some analysis. You want to do like who study faculties quality, you want to find who are the best faculty. Okay, to find the best faculty, so you want to get all the details of the faculties available in the website. So without copy pasting, you want to do web scraping. So web scraping is very useful technique. Okay, without copying content from the website, directly you can write the code to copy all the content present in the website into your Python environment. Okay, web scraping can be done by using two libraries. One is request library, another one is beautiful soup. So for example, Wikipedia contains some data. For example, Wikipedia page contains some data about war, guns, about military strength. You want to do some analysis on military strength, okay, military strength of different countries in the world. Okay, we know who is the strongest in the world regarding military, right? So generally we know USA, right? United States of America is the strongest in military. So and then there are other countries who are following. Okay, so now you have data about all the countries and 200 countries. Okay, their military strength, like guns, and then different navy naval strength. So you have data, right? Now you want to get all the data into your Python. How to get that data into Python? So you can use web scraping. Web scraping is a simple technique to read useful data present in a particular website. So we are going to read the data by using both beautiful soup and request. These two are the libraries we are going to use. Next, you can get data from databases. Sometimes data may be available in SQL. These are the relational databases. So in the relational databases, sometimes you'll be having data. Now you want to read the data into your Python. So to read data into your Python, so you can use SQLite. So SQLite is very useful. So SQLite 3 is a library you can use for accessing SQL data into your Python. Okay, so and there are some NoSQL data, NoSQL also present, NoSQL databases. What is the example for NoSQL DB? MongoDB. So you can use MongoDB. So directly without installing SQL software in your computer, you can directly use MongoDB. Okay, MongoDB in the cloud. MongoDB cloud is useful. You can directly read data from MongoDB into your Python. Okay, you can do that. So Python supports SQL also. Okay, so you can read data from SQL into your Python. So most of generally companies generally will have huge amounts of data stored in SQL. Okay, so in such case you should know how to access data from SQL into Python. Okay, so far we have seen how to get data. Now you have data. Suppose you got data now into your Python environment. So after collecting data, we have collected data. After collecting data, what is the next step? Now we have to process the data processing. Okay, so for data processing, we have two important libraries. See, after what is the data processing? It's very simple. Suppose you have CSV data, but Python will not directly work with the CSV format. What it has to do is it has to convert the CSV file into some other format, okay, some other data structure which is known by Python. So Python should understand this data format. Okay, so we are going to use NumPy or Pandas to convert this CSV file into Python data structure. Generally, Python data structures like Pandas contains, for example, data frame. Data frame is a data structure, and also we have data series also. NumPy arrays. These are the different data structures in Python. So Python knows these data structures. Okay, so we have to work with these data structures only in Python, but file is in CSV. Now what you have to do, you have to convert the CSV file into data frame, or you have to convert the CSV file into series, or you have to convert the CSV file into NumPy arrays. Okay, so for doing that we have NumPy and Pandas. Okay, so you can either use Pandas library or NumPy library. Generally Pandas was built on NumPy only. Okay, so NumPy is a numerical computing package in Python. Okay, it is very useful. This is very useful for numerical computing. for means mathematical calculations. So NumPy is generally useful to create n-dimensional arrays. N-dimensional array. So you can create n-dimensional arrays like vectors, vector matrices. You can create vector matrices. Vector is a generally one-dimensional array. Matrix is a two-dimensional array, right? You will have this is a one-dimensional array. So generally one-dimensional array will have vector, okay, whereas two-dimensional array will have rows and columns. Whereas in a one-dimensional array you will have only one single row, okay, one single row. Here you have rows and columns, whereas here if you see three-dimensional array, in three-dimensional array generally you will have rows and rows and columns repeated. So for example, you have rows and columns, so this is actually 2D, and if you have another set of the same different values, so then this will be increased in other dimension, okay, so then that is called three-dimensional. Okay, generally we are working with one-dimensional, two-dimensional, three-dimensional arrays. Okay, so by using NumPy you are going to work with arrays. Okay, this is a very important data structure in Python. So this NumPy is very useful for numerical computing. It is not just creating arrays. Okay, so it is useful to convert various data formats into arrays. Also data formats into arrays, you can convert different data formats into NumPy arrays. After converting into NumPy arrays, you can do lot of mathematical calculations. Like you can find, for example, you can find sum of all these elements. Sometimes these elements may be 1,000 elements, so you can add all the 1,000 elements, okay, by using simple sum. Okay, sum is useful. This is one method available in NumPy. You can find sum, you can find how many of eigenvalues, eigenvector, inverse matrix, transpose of a matrix. Okay, all of you know, right? I hope all of you know, right? Yeah, I'm waiting for your response. Yes. Okay, so you can use this NumPy to calculate eigenvalues, eigenvectors, transpose of a matrix, inverse of a matrix, and then you can do statistical calculations also. For example, you want to find standard deviation, you can find standard deviation, you can find the mean. Okay, so you can find the average or mean, standard deviation, and then covariance. You can calculate all these parameters. Statistical also, it supports both linear algebra. It is useful for linear algebra and also useful for statistics. In machine learning, we have to use linear algebra and statistics. So NumPy provides all the methods required for linear algebra as well as statistics. Right, so pandas is very simple. It provides only it's a very simple. So it built on NumPy. It provides two data structures. One is data frame, another one is series. See, data frame is very similar to Excel, spreadsheet. General Excel spreadsheet will have rows and columns, right? These are rows, these are columns, right? So generally data will be arranged in data frame as in terms of rows and columns. Okay, you can see here rows and columns. That is data frame. Whereas series is simple, right? Series is having only one column. If your data frame is having only one column, so it will have only so here so continent, and then you have various continents here. So this entire data will give you information about series. So for example, you have country, this is the label, country label, and then you have values here: USA, China, Japan, Germany, UK, India. So these are the countries names. Okay, so it has only one series, so this is called a series, not a data frame. So the combination of series will give you data frame. For example, if you have two series here, then it is a data frame. Okay, this is the difference between series and data frame. Generally pandas have these two to work with the data. Okay, directly Excel data, CSV data, JSON data, text data, image data can be converted into pandas data frames. Okay, it is easy to do that by using various libraries. So we have one such library is pandas. Right. So we have seen how to process data. For processing data, we have NumPy and Pandas. And then data visualization. What is data visualization? So data visualization is very simple. Okay, for example, you have a data x is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, y is 1, 4, 9, 16. Now you want to understand what is the relationship between these two. Okay, how to get a clear understanding of data? It's very simple. If you plot these data points into a particular graph, okay, this x-axis and y-axis, you will get a graph like this. So directly you can understand the behavior of this particular system. Okay, by seeing the graph, remember always visualization always gives best understanding, okay, when compared with other formats. Okay, always we prefer visualizations, right? Okay, you prefer everyone prefers visualization only. Okay, so because visualization gives better understanding about a concept, so instead of seeing the numericals, it is better always to visualize data. So data visualization concept is very useful. Okay, it is useful to plot data points in the graph so that you will get clear understanding about the relationship between the variables and x and y. In the machine learning, data visualization plays very important role in choosing algorithm. In choosing algorithm, data visualization helps a lot. Done, right? So you can use matplotlib here. This is the actual library for data visualization. You can draw different types of plots. Okay, like you can draw, there are different plots here. You can see bar graph, histogram, scatter plot, pie plot, hexagonal bin plot, area plots. All these plots can be drawn by using matplotlib. Matplotlib provides the support for this. Okay. Right. So and then Seaborn is it's more advanced than Matplotlib, and it is built on Matplotlib only. Okay, so you can draw more clear and very complex graphs by using Seaborn. Okay, both Matplot library as well as Seaborn are useful for plotting only. Okay, but Seaborn provides more better visualization for us. Right. So then you can go for scikit-learn. So we'll be discussing about scikit-learn tomorrow, and then we'll be actually starting Python installation. Okay. So we have to install Python. All of you tomorrow, do one thing. Okay, be ready with this one because it's very important. So all of you, please copy this particular python.org. Go to python.org, all of you. Yeah, www.python.org. Okay, so go to this particular website and then you will see this page. Okay, in this page, go to downloads, click on downloads, okay, to download Python software. So you have to go to downloads. Okay, so after clicking on the downloads, you have to click here. After clicking here, the next step is this. Okay, so all of you have a option to take the screenshot. Okay, you can take the screenshot if required. Okay, you can take the screenshot. Okay, there is an option in this software. You can take the screenshot, save the screenshot in the desktop, and then you can clearly view about it. Okay, now once you click on this downloads, you will see this page. Okay, in this page, so download the latest version for Windows. Don't download directly this one. Okay, this is not meant for 64-bit. This is for 32-bit. Okay, now what you will do is click here. Looking for Python with a different OS, Python for Windows. Click on here, this option, Windows. Okay, so after clicking here, so the next step is you will see this page. So you will see this page. Okay, so here what you have to do is, now you will see note that Python 3.8.2 cannot be used on Windows XP or earlier. So hope all of you are using latest version, right, of Windows. So you have two versions here. This is a one version, this is another version. Remember here, use this to install 64-bit. If your computer is a 64-bit computer or laptop, then use this. Okay, you please download this software. You need to download this software. Okay, clear? Please take the screenshot. Okay, download. This is for 64-bit. If your system is 32-bit, then you have to download this. This is for 32-bit. This install is for 32-bit. Okay, clear? So anyone using other OS like Linux or Mac? Anyone other than this Windows? If you are using Mac or Linux, it supports all the OSs. Don't worry. So Python is available for all the operating systems, so it is easy. Okay, you can download and install. Right, very good, Sairam. So the next step is you have to, after downloading, so you'll be downloading the software. So after downloading, so after clicking that, you'll be getting your software downloaded into your downloads. So after getting into your downloads, the next step is you have to execute this executable file. Okay, you will get .exe file. So you have to double click or run it as an administrator to install it. Okay, so that is step 3, run this executable file. So when you click on this file, it will be asking you, there are 2 options you'll be getting. One is install now. So here it includes ideally pip, documentation, and create shortcuts, file associations. Remember, don't go for this customization. So you have to choose install now, because we need pip also. Pip is very important to install libraries. We are going to install libraries, install packages or libraries only through pip. So select this, install now, select, and then here you have to select install launcher for all users. Do it for all users, and then here also add Python 3.82 path. Here you have to choose add Python 3.82 path. So you have to tick mark these 2 checkboxes. Don't forget about it. Okay, so clear, right? If you have any doubt, please tell me. Okay, I'll be giving you explanation. Okay, so choose this, choose these 2, install launcher for all users, add Python 3.82 path. So then your software will be installed. Okay, so after installing, you can start working with that. So all of you will be installing, right? Okay, so I'll be closing this session. Okay, so we will start doing programming tomorrow. So Diveshri, Sirisha, ATD, and then Ishwar, Harshita, Vaishnavi, Kiran, Preeti, Sriya, Sai Kirti, Sairam, Sridipti, Sriram, Sri Ganesh, Sri Suryakala, Ashwini. Install it. Okay, if you have any doubts, please let us know. Yeah, Sriram, today, yeah, yesterday's video I'll be sending, today's video also I'll be uploading. Yeah, okay, okay. So please install. So tomorrow we'll start Python programming. So it's better you get ready with the software. Okay, but remember, don't do any wrong. Okay, install it properly, so that it will be very useful. And then later will be, yeah. So Harshita, what are you? Okay, you have a question. Could you tell where the recorded classes are uploaded? It is in the Google Classroom, Harshita. So your name already maybe. You have given your email ID, right? So you should get access to our Google Classroom. Videos are I did not find them. Okay, so I will tell them. Okay, just call me. Okay, this is my number, 630-186-5670. Call to this number. Okay, I will explain where they are. Okay, yeah. Thank you all. I'll be ending the session. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you. So any feedback you can give. Okay, if you have any feedback, okay, if you have any difficulties, please let me know. So tomorrow is holiday. All of you remember, tomorrow Sunday, tomorrow is holiday. Okay, so we don't have class tomorrow. Please remember. So we'll have class on Monday. Okay, Monday same time, 4 to 5. Is this clear, all of you? So Monday we have class. Sunday is holiday, right? So Harshita, for mobile, I will be sending something different. Don't use this, okay? So I'll be giving you different, software application that is actually mobile application. I'll be sharing with you. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Harshita.